Yes, indeed, Titi. Thank you very much for pushing it this way because we have a very interesting conversation about to happen with Moyosoreoluwa Eleso-Otefia. She's in the studio here with us. She's a writer, she's a communications expert, let's put it that way, TV, radio, and she's got her very own book here, which is what we're going to be reviewing, Behind the Veil, A Journey of Becoming. It's a memoir on a discovery, let me put it that way.
Yes, it is.
Welcome, Moyosore.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Good to have you. What's your choice of green this morning? What's going on here? What's this? Are you being patriotic?
Okay, so it's been, I think since the time I worked on this, I just fell in love with green. So I decided to continue with the theme.
It's a very good color.
Yes, it is. It is.
Notes. Well, let's talk about your book here, The Journey of Becoming, Behind the Veil. I've got two questions regarding the head, the theme of the book.
Right.
What veil and what discovery, what journey, Rob?
Right. Okay, so if you open or flip through the initial part of the book, I did talk about how in life we were wrapped by several veils from the womb. You know, there's this narrative about a child being wrapped around the veil of the mom, you know, right inside of the womb. And when we come out, there's still a veil, the warm embrace. So it's like we're always coming out to something. We are wrapped around circumstances, we're, you know, that kind of thing. So that suggested the idea behind the book. And knowing that my life has been in layers and phases, that has been so interesting, at the same time very challenging, made me go with that.
Challenging phases. Now I know you have 2 degrees
Right.
from the Lagos State University, which I attended, which is noisy, if you ask me. But you've got 2 degrees from last.
Yes.
And this took you how long to get these 2 degrees?
It took me about 11 years, almost 12 years.
Almost 12.
Yes.
Let's just say 12.
12 years. Yes.
Why did you do that to yourself? And was this part of your journey to becoming?
Yes, that was part of my journey to becoming. In fact, it was the most important part of my journey to becoming because it felt like I had to go through that circle to really understand what I had to do and how much impact I had on people around me, because that 11 years just put me at the center of my reality. And yeah, it was tough, it was challenging, it wasn't easy. And even though every time you ask me, why did you do that to yourself? I'm also asking myself, why did I do that to myself? But yes, I needed to go through that circle to understand what I was supposed to be doing and how my life was, you know, tied to a lot of people around me.
Sign a question whether this was absolutely necessary in you becoming who you eventually became, whether without it you could have been somebody else. But don't answer that yet. Let's first of all look at your chapter.
Right.
Very interestingly, you started just like the Bible, in the beginning, actually.
Yes.
I found it very interesting.
Yes.
And some of the quotes before the chapters of your book are mostly from the Bible, but it's not a religious book.
Right, it's
your
not.
Life, your conviction to self.
Right.
Let's talk about chapter 4 here. Elroy. And there is a quote that you put here. We have become his poetry, a recreated people that will fulfill the destiny he has given each of us. But we are joined to Jesus, the Anointed One. Even before we were born, God planned in advance our destiny and the good works we would do to fulfill it.
Right.
This sounds like somebody who believes in destiny.
Right.
But we talk about influence and how you had to come out of that veil to becoming who you are right now. So there's 2 different, very far, destiny and realization.
Well, I wouldn't say they are far apart, because when you look at it, the truth is, you know, a lot of things form who we become eventually. And one of the reasons I was even convicted to, or convinced to write this book, is because, you know, when people talk about purpose, when people talk about self-discovery, they talk about it like it's an abstract terminology. But I decided to document it in line with my everyday life and, you know, all of the things that summed up to form the person I am right now. So yes, there are influences, there are circumstances, but again, if you would come to realize at the center of the book that what I'm talking about is that to really come to a full understanding of who you are, you need to be very particular about the actions you take and, you know, the decisions you make. So those 2 things eventually form your life, and they're part of, you know, those influences and destiny in quotes that you're talking about. So they are not necessarily far apart. I think that they are all in sync. If you ask me.
Going back to my question, which I posted from before, was it absolutely necessary to go through all of these challenges to you discovering yourself? Without those challenges, would you be anti-Mo, as some people?
Well, I can't tell. The truth is, what I can say right now, or what I can see right now, is that I went through that fire and it made me who I am right now, you know.
The last one or the life one?
The life one, generally. The last one inclusive, you know.
A bit of realization, the light bulb, and this is highlighted in your chapter 6,
Yes.
which is preceded by another quote from the Bible. But that light bulb moment
Yes.
was when? And how can people who are watching right now, or who are going to eventually read this book, what should they take from it? When was this light bulb moment?
Yeah, well, I think the light bulb moment came out at the time when I decided to go on that full circle journey to rediscovering myself. You know, at the time when I was on my first degree I was already a communicator, history and international studies. You know, I had taken interest in media. I'd gone for trainings. You know, I'd started serving as intern in different radio stations. But I thought I had found everything I needed to find about myself. You know, so the light bulb moment for me was getting into another phase of life where it now occurred to me that there is even more than I can imagine. So I went for a second degree in law, and then I became a mirror to a lot of young people because I'd gone through the first 4 years in school. I'd gone for NYC. I'd come back to study law. So it was like I was now seeing life beyond just being about myself. I was seeing life beyond just living life and just being that media girl. I now saw it from the perspective of whatever you're doing has an influence on other people. So I became that mirror for a lot of young people on campus, and that was where the Antimo name came from. So it was like I now started.
Because we're older than all of them.
No. So I started helping younger people to navigate the experiences that I had, you know, had been a part of, or had been a part of my life at the time. So it was just that moment of, okay, I'm here now. I'm beginning to understand that there is more to life than just running a career or going for a 9 to 5 and all of that. There's impact, and that was what formed it.
About your chapter 7, this garden of talent that you spoke about, which is obviously your realization that you do so many things. Now, you put this in the book to also be a light for other people as well, who have talents all over the place. And let's face it now, monetize these talents.
Yes.
So what advice and what would this book give? What would this book give that person who's reading it, reading that chapter 7 now regarding the Garden of
Talents?
How do they prorate or, you know?
Okay, so one of the things I was very vocal about in this book is that there is a place of service if you want to come to a full realization of how you should navigate your talent. And, you know, I talked about it from my experiences, the people I had to serve, places I had to serve before I understood how to monetize my skill. And of course, I do a lot of things. In fact, I had to move away from just doing TV and radio at some point, and I went full into PR and communication. So it was like every stage in my life unleashed me into a different perspective of how I can groom my skills to a different niche and all of that. So yeah, I think people who are probably multi-potentialite like me would come to understand that you can use your skill at different stages to navigate your life so beautifully in a way that you would enjoy the fruits therein as well.
You put it so nice. What was that again? A potentialite?
Multi-potentialite.
Multi-potentialite. I just think it's a potpourri of ability.
Yes. Yes,
well,
it is.
It's grand having you here.
Thank you.
It's a fine read, and you should too. Behind the Veil, The Journey of Becoming by Moyosoreoluwa, Eleso-Otefia.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's your first book?
Yes, it is.
I'm looking forward to another one.
Yes.
And we'll have it here on Wake Up Nigeria.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
You stay tuned. We've got more inside of Wake Up Nigeria coming your way for an Artsy Thursday.